Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to the sheep pen, bah, where no goats are allowed. Today, I want to talk about the sheep and the goats. I haven't talked about that in a good while. Since I've been delivering these messages, I've been teaching you about a thing that I call the kingdom. I've taught you about, in a nutshell, what it is and what it isn't. I've exposed how you've been misled to think that the kingdom is supposed to be about heaven and hell, that the kingdom of heaven is heaven. But when Jesus talks about heaven, he just says heaven. That's where God and the angels live. But when Jesus talks about the kingdom of God, he's talking about something else because he says clear as a bell, plain as day, that the kingdom of God is not a place because it is within you. The kingdom is within you. He also says that the kingdom is at hand. That means it's something you can reach out and grasp and claim right now. It's not some future place. I've been teaching you about spiritual warfare, about who you are in the kingdom of God. I've been teaching you about who you are to God and to Jesus, that you are kings and priests, just like the Bible says. You are supposed to be the head and not the tail, just like the Bible teaches us. You are supposed to have power over the enemy, power over sickness and death, power over even poisonous snakes, and power over any deadly thing that it can't even hurt you. What weapon formed against you can prosper. If God is for me, who can be against me? These are victorious and triumphant battle cries. This is what it means to be a Christian, to walk in this power and authority. I've talked about all this stuff, but I've been circling back around. I went back around and talked about what's wrong with the church in the last couple of videos. Now I want to talk about what Jesus really looks at. What does Jesus Christ care about in the life of a believer? Well, you know what he cares about if you look at what he preached about. So there's a moment in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, and go find it. I love to send people on biblical scavenger hunts. I could quote this and send you right to it, but I'd rather that you dig for it. But I will tell you this. It's towards the end of the story before Jesus gets crucified. He takes his disciples up to a mountaintop, and there they see the temple below. And they ask him, what is going to be the end of the age? What is the end of time? What's going to be like in the end times? And so he gives us some very specific events that will take place. But at the end, in the culmination of all these events, it says that Jesus, now acting as king of this earth, open and in control, will gather all the human beings and basically separate us into two groups, the sheep and the goats. He will divide the people. And the people being divided will see themselves being pulled away from other righteous people, and they'll see themselves being put over into this group, and they'll cry out to God and say, God, how come, remember us. We're with you. Why are you sending us away? Why are you sending us away, Jesus? King Jesus, I'm over here. And he's going to say, well, I don't know you. Because when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was naked, you didn't clothe me. When I was alone, you didn't comfort me. When I was in prison, you didn't come visit me. When I was sick, you didn't minister to my illness and take care of me and love me. When I was a stranger, you didn't take me in. And they're shocked at this because these people consider themselves Christians. And I'll just to finish the thought. Many of you know the story, but just to finish the thought for those that don't, Jesus tells them, because you didn't do this for human beings, because you didn't do this for your brethren, because you didn't do this for the other humans that you share this planet with, because you didn't show them that love, that he doesn't want nothing to do with you. If you don't love people, Jesus doesn't want nothing to do with you. And one could argue that just straight up there damns you to hell. And some theologians would argue, well, maybe you get some other shot at it on righteousness. But I don't think any of us are capable of true righteousness, a true holiness. This is why we have to have this adoption into the Godhead. We have to have this adoption into deity. Because we're always going to be in some way tied to this earth and its past. But it doesn't mean we can't become everything. We can't become everything God intended us to be. It doesn't mean we can't reach our full potential. But I'm telling you what, taking care of other people is a number one priority with Jesus. It is above all other things. That judgment doesn't say, all of you who touched yourself over there, you're going to hell. And all of you that avoided touching yourself, you can go over there and go to heaven. It doesn't address your sexuality. It doesn't address your habits. It doesn't address your alcoholism. This judgment doesn't address anything except how you treat one another. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, if you don't treat one another with love, you are going to go straight to hell. And you know I don't preach hell. But I'm just telling you what Jesus himself said. This was witnessed by many of the disciples, and I can find overwhelming evidence that this sermon about the end times in Matthew was absolutely verified. This is as close to concrete Jesus' words as it gets. Jesus didn't condemn homosexuality. He also didn't condemn a number of things, right? Because that's not what Jesus was about. He says right there in the Bible, it says right there in John, he didn't come to condemn the world, but to save the world. He didn't come to send you to hell. He came to give you the keys to heaven. And the keys to heaven rest on one thing: love. Treating each other right. Taking care of one another. We're entering into the season of Thanksgiving, also known as the season of football and gluttony. Our Thanksgiving holiday is right around the corner, where we give thanks to God for the things that we have. But I'm here to tell you right now, if you're okay with having that big spread, knowing there's people out there that are going hungry, knowing there's people out there that don't have what they need, knowing there's people out there that would love to have Thanksgiving, but they don't have a stove to cook it on, an oven to bake in. You see, Jesus loves us, and he expects us to love one another, and it's so clear that that's the whole purpose. That's the whole center focus of Jesus's teaching, what he believed we should do. He even warned us that we would be turned away, because these people that he turned away, these goats in the sheep and goat judgment, where he says they're going to come to me and say, Lord, Lord, but even though we didn't do those things for those people, we cast out devils, we did signs and wonders, we did great miracles, we had great giant churches, we raised all this money, we had classes, we gave out diplomas, we taught kids not to chew tobacco or smoke. Jesus doesn't care about any of that. I'm sorry. You've read all the wrong parts of the Bible and ignored the best parts of the Bible. You've ignored the vital parts of the Bible for the history of the Jewish people. I mean, that religion's not even for you, right? And you reject the words of Jesus. Jesus's religion is a religion of love, spiritual power and authority, and freedom and acceptance of others. It's about living in a non-judgmental world where people are not afraid to be real and open about their struggles, because they know you're going to support them, not condemn them to hell for the things that they're fighting in their own life. And as we enter into this season, they call the next season the season of giving, but this is the season of gluttony. I want you to think about the families that don't have a Thanksgiving this year. I want you to think about the people that can't even think about Thanksgiving because they don't have a lot of other things that necessary just to live from day to day. So I believe that this ministry is going to grow beyond just you supporting me, my viewers supporting me as I teach you about these things. That's the exchange that's going on right now. I always said if I made more money, then I needed to live a basic, simple life, then I would find ways to give it away. And that's what's about to happen with your help. If we can step it up just a notch. I've been getting just enough. However, because I got some good tithers, those basic tithers right now, I've got enough that they're paying my bills and my groceries. If anything over that, like if I need to get a haircut or if I need to, buy a pair of shoes or a new belt or something to hold my pants up, right, or jacket, whatever it is, doesn't matter. If I any other thing, I rely on people who give out of the kindness of their heart on the channels. One-time givers or people that sporadically give, or the small gifts add up. I hope to talk to you again about the dollar man. I I'm telling you, he's coming around. I'm gonna win that soul. I am gonna steal that soul straight out of the devil's hand. You just wait and see. I'm gonna love him in, right? Because it's all about love. But back to talking about money, I always said that if I got enough, I'd give it away. Well, at first I got a little bit more than just enough, and so I used that to put some meat in my freezer, so I have a little bit of food security in the house. And then the next step was I got some new clothes because I put on weight and lost weight until I didn't have anything that fit me. And so you might notice I got some new shirts. And then after that, I want you to know I've found a family. Then I've been helping them. Now, that is a really embarrassing thing for some people. People don't like people to know their business. I know enough people I can talk generally like this and no one will guess who I'm talking about. And I can't give you too much of the information about them other than to say I've never met a more deserving bunch. Essentially, it's a single mother. She lost her husband recently, and he didn't die, but there's more than one way to lose a husband. But he is not in the picture, and they are unable to get him to help in any way because he can't. And so the kids are mostly grown, but there's also a grandbaby in the house. So there's a newborn in the house, and they don't have a stove to cook on. It's just a hole in their kitchen. They're lucky that they have a house to live in. That is greatly due to the help that they get from the tribal folks here because they're Native Americans, so they get some help from the tribe. But even with all the help they can muster, they go without a lot. They go without some of the things that we take for granted. And because of the recent changes, the recent chaotic changes in their life, I do not see them turning this around anytime soon. I mean, it takes time to recover from financial disaster, and especially when it gets so far down to where it just starts to compound, and now it's like a hole you can't get out of. But they've got their gas back on, right? I'm helping repair some things around the house, some plumbing that doesn't work, some stuff like that to try to get their living situation better. And I'm asking you now, don't take away from me to give to them, because you're wasting your time there, because anything extra I got is already going to them. And I'm going to continue doing this, finding good families, good people who need help, and vetting them. So I'm asking now for a higher level of financial commitment from some of you who aren't giving it all. The ones of you who are tithing, you are making the whole thing possible, okay? Keep doing what you're doing. You're covering the whole thing, and I'm going to keep doing this as long as you keep carrying me. But a lot of others out there, you don't believe in providing for me. Maybe you think pastors ought to work for free, or you think that it ought to be volunteer only. You think that I should work full time and try to do this too. Whatever your argument is, and I'm not even upset about that because God takes care of me. I've been saying that since day one. I didn't take a dime from this channel for 2 years. For 2 years, people tried to give me money. They threw money at me when my channel was soaring. When I had a viral video with over 500,000, up to 814,000 views, over 750,000 views now. As I was soaring and growing, people were trying to give me money, and I said, give it to a homeless shelter, give it to a worthy cause. Don't give it to me, because God takes care of me. So God's got me with I got a small handful of really loyal supporters that are with me through thick and thin, and thank you so much. And I know for a fact God's blessing you, and I pray every day that God blesses you even more. So if you're giving on a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly basis to this channel, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're one of those that's been waiting for your chance to help somebody, and it is the holiday season coming up, and you want to do something to help this family, I'd really love to put a stove in their house. They don't. I need a natural gas stove to go in their house. I already got their Thanksgiving meal covered. But I'm telling you the truth. I'd love to see an outpouring from this channel. I know you can do it. I got some folks out there that actually do have deep pockets, and I know you're out there. And I would love to pay their bills for the month of November. The bills that they're struggling to keep up with, they're falling behind. So if you want to contribute to this family and sponsor this family over the holidays, know that every extra dime I've got's going to them. And join me, because love is what matters. Jesus don't care about your failures and your weaknesses. He cares how you help other people when they're failing and when they're weak. If you want God to forgive you and to give you strength and to support you when you are struggling, then you absolutely have to do that for your loved ones. It's so, or the people in your life, or people you come across, people you see. You can't leave seen needs untended to if you want the rewards of Jesus. You can live a holy life. You can cast out devils in his name. And on that day, on that last day, he will separate the goats and the sheep. He will separate the ones who loved each other, the ones who saw someone hungry and fed them, the ones who saw someone who was naked and clothed them, saw someone who was in the hospital and visited them and prayed for them, people who saw people in prison and went to visit them and tell them about the good news of the kingdom. Those are the people that are going to get chosen as sheep on that day. Not you holier than thou, Bible thumping, crystal pulpit, crystal cathedral, big haired preachers. You are not the ones that are going to go there. I'm telling you, you're going to look for your favorite preacher and not find him, because, you know, I won't name him, but a certain one down there in Texas, when they had a giant flood, locked the door to his own people who were trying to retreat from the floodwaters and wouldn't let him in the church. That's not a sheep. That's a goat. That's a first class, big old horned goat. And I'm telling you, trying to love somebody like that's trying to hug a porcupine. That religion, that false religion of Christianity that they call the church, hey, I can't condemn them all. Some of them are going to be amongst the sheep. Some of them, there's some little old ladies in the church that work all week so they can go put money into the missions fund, so that people in Africa can get, or in South America can get clean water and a well drilled. Right? There's people out there that go down like I used to do and stock cans in the food bank for homeless people and people that need help. You know, and use the sweat of their brow to help people. There's more than one way to help somebody. But if you're financially doing okay, if your cornucopia is overflowing with the blessings of God this year, if it's not this family, find a family and help them. Let's do something significant. Show your sheep colors. Show God and yourself that you're not a goat. Because I'm not going to sit up here. If I'm the most successful preacher, if this kingdom message takes off, if this kingdom power and love message takes off, if this message of freedom in the spirit and spirituality and the way I present it takes off and it becomes successful, I mean, some of these people have so much money, it's obscene. I am not the person that's going to sit around here and cover myself in diamonds in $5,000 suits or whatever, right? I'm still going to get my shirts at Ross, like every other working man. It's cheaper than Walmart and they're better clothes. Sorry, not brought to you by Ross, but I'm just saying I'm not that kind of guy. I'm going to do this kind of work, you know. And I talked a year ago about building an orphanage, and I told you that there's something going on in this world. There's something that 50% of us or better did that we told them not to do. Don't talk about it. They'll pull my channel down. I'm being cryptic on purpose. Don't explain it to the slow ones. Okay, they can figure it out on their own. But 50% roughly of our population did something that the other half of us didn't do, and it's affected their health. And there are people out there that are unexpectedly perishing before their time. I have to be so careful what I'm saying. certain words I can't. I have to use old words. And you know what? They're the age of people who would have small children. So if this ministry takes off, if I get more money than I can spend, I'm going to spend it on people. I'm going to spend it on God's people. I'm going to spend it on babies. I'm going to spend it on single moms. I'm going to spend it on soup kitchens, which I believe in a little less because, I would rather help somebody who's really trying than to help somebody try to help somebody who's given up. Right? So this family's trying. This family's actually doing amazingly well for as much tragedy as they have suffered. But I want to do something special for them, and it's so important to me. I'll do whatever I got to, even if it means selling something. I would like to do as much for them as I can this year, and I'd love to have your help. Those of you who aren't already helping, I'm not trying to squeeze my loyal people. Know that if when I ended up with a little extra money, that's where it went, and that's where it'll continue to go. And I'm just the kind of guy that will never treat himself and be extravagant or flashy or expensive or buy big houses and airplanes and junk like that when there's people out there that just don't need a hand out, they need a hand up, right? They just need a helping hand. They just need somebody to care for a minute. I'm going to tell you a story here before I close about a time that I did make a huge impact in a family's life. That there was a man and a woman, and they had two children. Yeah, two children. And they just showed up in front of the church I was working at one day asking for help. And so it was customary when that happened, if I believed that the person, this is instructions from the bishop and the elders board, but if I believed the person to be legit and their story legit and they came asking for help, that I should start with, are you hungry right now? When was the last time you ate? Can I buy you dinner? And right next door to the church was an all-you-can-eat buffet. And so that's what happened that time. I took them over, I fed them, and I listened to their story. And I found it to be credible. And I brought it to the pastor. And these folks had come up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area looking for work. Well, actually, they came up thinking they had a job. When they got there, turns out they had given the job to somebody else before they could get there and claim it. And they were basically had used all their money to get to the location where the job was, and now they had no place to go. And they had been for some time living in their car. Was it a minivan or a hatchback? I believe it was a hatchback. And so it wasn't even much space. They were all crammed in there. Medium size, almost like a station wagon. But when they first realized he lost that opportunity, he immediately started calling family members for help. And he was able to raise enough money to A, keep them alive, but B, make the first payment to get his appointment to go in and start his job start to train as a truck driver, to get his truck driving license. So I had a guy that was trying. I had a family that was working together. I had a family that was doing all they could. So I went to the pastor and the bishop and the elders board, and we put them up in a hotel room while he went to school for a few weeks. And then we went to another resource and helped them get into an apartment with no money down and help if they couldn't make rent. And then when he got that truck driving license, he went right to work. And I didn't hear from him for a while, and they came back to visit the church because his job kept him gone a lot. And so it was several months later after we kind of put him on the job and got him in the new apartment, and they come back around. And he come up to me, him and his family, and they just kind of all, I'm going to break down again. They just kind of all like covered me up in hugs. The kids are hugging me. I guess they planned it out. We're going to go hug Pastor Phil. Okay, there's my name. Whatever. Most of you guessed it already. We're going to go hug him. And then they told me that, you changed our lives. That help you gave us was pivotal. And now look, I got a new truck. I earned a new truck. Look at that. Now, he had a nice big new diesel truck out there, a pickup truck, and he was doing good. And his wife had got a new car, and they had an apartment, and the kids were in preschool, and it was just all they needed was just a little boost. There's more than enough resources in this world to feed everyone, to clothe everyone. But it's being hoarded by the richest people on earth. And they've enslaved the rest of the world in a system that keeps them barely breathing, barely head above water, while the rich get richer and the poor go unattended. The politicians on both sides, for all their talk, honestly, there's just not enough help for a family who gets hit with a 1-2 punch. Whether it's a death, an imprisonment, or a mental breakdown of a family member, or a catastrophic divorce and abandonment, it doesn't matter. There's a laundry list of things that can just rip your life upside down overnight and make it impossible for you to keep your head above water financially, emotionally. When people get desperate and there's no place to turn, they'll turn to drugs to numb the pain. They'll turn to alcohol to make it go away. But it just gets worse. The more you escape it, try to escape it, the deeper you get in it, and the more inescapable it becomes. This is what's tearing our country apart more than anything. And it's happening in your hometown. It's happening in your hometown. It's happening just down the street from where you live and from where you work and from where you send your kids to school. Maybe it's happening to you. I know many of you have suffered. That's why you're here. You're trying to find a new way to dig yourself out of generational curses and generational afflictions of all sorts, and overcoming childhood traumas and tragedies and abuse, like myself. What I struggled to overcome. But I'm telling you, if we were just there for each other, if people would stop taking advantage of people and start being an advantage to people. So I'm going to put the bite on y'all for other folks over the holiday season. I don't need any Christmas presents. I don't need anything more than what you're giving me right now. Don't stop giving me right now or I'll be in need too. But right now, God's taking care of me, and he's using y'all to do it. And he's going to use the rest of you and the other people that are going to come, and the people you share this video with, and the people that you send links to look at this video. You know, if you know a rich person has got more than enough, send them this video. Maybe the guilt will get to them. So if you send something, you say, this is for that family, or just write family, I will make sure every last penny is spent on that family. And, well, I'm going to start doing this in the future, so there's going to be more than one family, as we have more than enough. God's going to, that's it. God keeps telling me, we're going to have more than enough. You're asking for just enough, Sage, and God says, I'm not the God of just enough. I'm the God of more than enough. So I'm sure that God's pulling on your heartstrings right now. And you can make a contribution to this ministry to continue what we're doing and keep the videos coming by making a PayPal contribution. If you do that for the family, just in the comments, write for the family. And I'll make sure that I'm not going to give them this money directly. And it's because I want to do things for them with the money, like make the repairs and, you know, help them pay the bills, make sure it goes to the right places, right? Make sure it gets to the need. Not that I don't trust them with it. It's just you'd be surprised how much there's other people ready to come in there and snatch it away from somebody. So it's better when people are in debt because, you know, the wrong people will get the money from them, right? I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to do the things that need to be done. We're going to take care of business for this family, and we're going to start doing this for other families. And someday when the need arises, and trust me, that thing those people did that the rest of us didn't do is coming home to roost and causing some premature evacuations of the planet, if you know what I mean. And they're going to leave a lot of kids behind with no parents, because that's the age these people are that did this, a lot of them. So check into that. I can't talk about it. I don't want to put it in, make the channel be at risk. But I have a good and credible reason to believe that we're going to have an orphan problem in this country soon. And that we're going to have a famine problem in this country soon. That we're going to have not a homeless problem, but we are all going to get lowered to the point where if you're not homeless, you're something special. Unfortunately, that's what war does. Unfortunately, that's what happens when evil people get in control of things. So I covet your prayers. I covet your support. And I want to tell you that you are powerful sons and daughters of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, that you are joint heirs with him in the kingdom of God, and that you have the power and authority to tread on serpents and demons and to fear nothing in this world. So help me to feed this family's physical needs while I also minister them and help to feed their spiritual needs. And I'm going to continue this thing because this is what church used to be before they corrupted it. I'm going to leave you with this prayer. May the Lord surround you in his ring of fire and hedge of thorns of protection. May he send mighty angels of sufficient rank, authority, and number to surround you and protect you and rout the enemy from your midst. And then may he pour out his blessings on you. All of those that give, Lord, pour out your blessings on them. Cover them up in blessings. Give them the desires of their heart, O Lord. And then cover us all in your peace that surpasses all understanding. In Jesus' name, amen.